Delusions, yeah. I think we find ourselves at a crossroads. There's one way to turn this around, maybe. I'd call the Swedish model. There's not much you can say for the Swedish model that's encouraging.
If you've got a country or a region of the world that is losing population, that's devastating. I mean, that would say that that region would be in a depression, we'd call it in economics.
My experience in talking to people about this is that they simply don't understand what's about to happen.
There's not much quibble. There's not much controversy among people in the know.
We have entered into a new phase of modern history. One that we desperately need to understand.
You know, there's been a great decline in maybe 70 countries now that are below replacement fertility.
Replacement fertility is the number of childbirths per woman that is required to replace the existing population.
We're going into a new era.
Why is this aging, and why is this demographic winter occurring?
It's happening in rich countries, it's happening in poor countries, it's happening in Catholic countries, Islamic countries, and that is everywhere. People are having fewer and fewer children. When
fewer children are born, there are proportionately more elderly. This is called an aging population.
The world for the last 200 years has been population increases pretty much in all countries. So that's the challenge, to try to first understand why it's happening and then some consequences.
The reason the world has experienced a population explosion over the past century is not because human beings suddenly started breeding like rabbits. It's because they finally stopped dying like flies. What's really driven up human numbers has been a health explosion.
The population of children in the world has already declined. And yet, world population will probably grow by another 1.7, 1.8 billion. It's a paradoxical reality until you do the simple arithmetic to see what's happening to the population of different age groups.
Certain population reduction in at least some countries, and in many countries without immigration, enters us into unknown terrain where there are potentially very significant negative consequences.
Subreplacement fertility a generation and more ago means that the working age population, age 15 to 64, is going to be slowing and then peaking and then declining more or less indefinitely as far as the demographer's eye can see.
In previous eras in which we had manpower shortages, we resorted to things like slavery and indentured servitude. And gradually, as the world population took off, beginning in the 18th century, we freed more and more categories of people from slavery, from debt peonage.
Most people think, because they've seen it all their life, real estate only goes up. They're not making more of it, population's growing, and real estate doesn't always go up. It was down a lot of the early 1900s and